My mother-in-law insisted I cook even though I was completely exhausted. The aroma of the food was overwhelming for my pregnant body, and I had to rush to the bathroom. I threw up into the toilet, but since I hadn't eaten anything all day because of her relentless demands, it was mostly just liquid. From that moment, I felt like I was in serious trouble. "Lisa, how long are you planning to stay in there? We need that food ready." "I'm sorry," I managed to reply, my voice weak. Young people these days just lack patience. Pregnancy isn't something you can handle with patience alone. How dare you speak back to me? Just because you're pregnant doesn't give you the right to be so insolent. If you keep this up, I'll knock some sense into you. My name is Lisa, and I'm a 27-year-old office worker. My husband Ken and I have been happily married for 2 years, balancing our careers while supporting each other. Then something wonderful happened. I discovered I was pregnant. Both of us were overjoyed and eagerly anticipating the arrival of our new family member. When I found out I was pregnant, I took maternity leave, and before I knew it, I was in the final month of pregnancy, with the twins due any day. Since we were expecting twins, we had to transfer our care from a general hospital to a private one equipped for emergency surgeries. Managing daily life on my own was becoming increasingly challenging, so my husband suggested that I move in with my mother temporarily. My father passed away when I was young, and now my mother lives alone. Since my husband and my mother get along well, and I'm accustomed to living with her, it seemed like the best option for minimizing stress. So for the past few months, I've been staying with my mother. The hospital where I'll be giving birth is also closer to her house, which has made the transition very comfortable. Just when I was on the verge of giving birth, I was confronted with an unexpected and troubling situation. My mother-in-law. Initially, I had a positive impression of her. She was warm and friendly when we first met, and she was open and engaging at family gatherings. However, as time went on, I began to see a different side of her. Why was my mother-in-law involved now? I had no choice but to ask for her help. My husband, a special design engineer, was dealing with an urgent issue with a local client only he could resolve, so he needed to visit the client personally. Meanwhile, my mother was hospitalized with appendicitis and would be out of commission for a few days. Concerned about me being alone, my husband suggested that my mother-in-law stay with me to provide support. At the time, I still had a positive view of my mother-in-law, so I was relieved when she agreed to come and help. I thought her presence would bring some much-needed peace of mind. However, the moment she arrived at my house, her demeanor took a turn for the worse. "Oh my God, your house is such a mess. Do you and your mother even clean?" Her comments were harsh and unprovoked, and she even went as far as to insult my mother. I was taken aback, as I had always thought of my mother-in-law as a kind person. "Mother, thank you for coming to take care of me for the next few days." "Oh, you must have misunderstood something," she replied dismissively. "What?" "I'm only here to call an ambulance if you need it," she said bluntly. "You'll need to handle the housework yourself." "Oh, don't think you can take advantage of me just because you're pregnant. I'll show you how to clean your house. Now get ready." Reluctantly, I had to comply with my mother-in-law's demands. She had me walking around the house, tidying up every nook and cranny. Then, despite my exhaustion, she insisted I cook. The smell of the food became overwhelming, and I had to rush to the bathroom. I threw up in the toilet, but since I hadn't eaten anything because of the constant demands from my mother-in-law, it was mostly just liquid. From the very first day, I felt like I was in danger. "Hey, Lisa, how long are you going to stay in the bathroom? Come out and cook." "I'm sorry. Young people these days just don't have any patience. Pregnancy isn't something you handle with patience alone. How dare you talk back to me? Just because you're pregnant doesn't give you the right to be so insolent. If you keep this up, I'll knock some sense into you. Tomorrow, we'll do a more thorough cleaning. We'll tackle the yard and get rid of the weeds." "But I don't think I can manage pulling weeds. It's my last month of pregnancy." "Don't be so lazy. You need to strengthen your legs. You've been pampered and living a lazy life. You won't be able to raise a child like that. But the doctor advised me to rest as much as possible. What I'm talking about. I've already given birth to my son and daughter. Listen to me, not that nonsense from the doctor. You can rest today, but starting tomorrow, I'll be much stricter, so be ready. My mother-in-law grinned as she spoke. It was clear she wasn't interested in teaching me, she was simply enjoying the power of giving orders and mistreating me. Fearing that continuing to follow her demands might put my pregnancy at risk, I tried to resist as much as I could. That's enough. It's obvious you should follow the doctor's advice. What you're doing is just bullying your daughter-in-law. How dare you speak to me like that? I should have known I couldn't trust you. Trust me? What are you talking about? I'm saying I never trusted someone raised by a single mother. They don't get proper guidance. That's why I didn't want my son to marry you. I see, so that's what you really thought. Yes, that's exactly it. But you can at least give me grandchildren. Once you've given me what I want, I'm done with you. What do you mean, done? Well, ideally, there would be a separation and divorce. My son and the grandchildren can return to our home. I understand your point. I'll support you through the birth, at the very least. No, I've had enough. What are you talking about? Without my help, the babies could be at risk. Don't be selfish, just do as I say. Just then my husband walked in. Hey, Mom, what's going on here? What? Why are you home? Didn't you go on a business trip? Fortunately, everything went smoothly, and I was able to return today. I got a message from Lisa asking for help, so I called her and stayed on the line. So, you heard everything we discussed? Yes, I heard everything. Mom, what kind of danger are you putting my pregnant wife in? Well, when I was pregnant, though medicine is much more advanced now, the doctor's advice is still crucial. Lisa is carrying twins, so she needs even more care than with a single pregnancy. If anything happens to those babies, it's on you. Oh no. Also, you mocked Lisa's mother for being a single parent. I didn't realize you were like this. You only see things on the surface. The truth is, single parent. Single parent. I'm sure those children didn't receive a proper upbringing. So does that mean I and everyone who works for her mother are bad people too? What? When we first met each other's families, I mentioned that my mother is a business owner. I thought that was just a small bar or something. I figured she was just trying to impress. Oh, I see. I didn't realize you had such a narrow view. I thought you were more open-minded. Lisa's mom is actually the president of the company I used to work for. She was recently featured in a business magazine. It was originally her husband's company, but after he passed away, she took over. She's been successfully running it for over 20 years. Well, I didn't know that. If I had, I might have acted differently. I dislike people who change their behavior based on someone's status. You've been belittling Lisa and my mother-in-law all along, haven't you? I don't want anything to do with you anymore. On top of that, you've endangered my babies. I'm cutting ties with you, Mom. You can't do that. Don't ever come around us again. I'm sorry, please. Sorry? No, I can't forgive you. What you said to Lisa was unacceptable. I'll never be able to forgive you. I'm going to tell Dad and my sister about this. Music. Now, if you cause any more trouble, get out of here. My mother-in-law's face turned pale as my husband insisted she leave. I'm so relieved he came back when he did. If he had left me alone with her, I can't imagine what might have happened. Afterward, my mother-in-law returned to my in-law's house, but my husband had informed my father-in-law about the situation, so my mother-in-law was not allowed inside. She then turned to my sister-in-law for help, but my husband had also filled her in, so she refused to assist her mother as well. Although my sister-in-law has her own issues with her mother-in-law, she couldn't tolerate seeing her mother bully me. With no support from the family, my mother-in-law was left feeling abandoned. Desperate, she went to my father-in-law, begging and pleading. He agreed to let her return home on the condition that she promised never to bully me again. My husband reinforced this by insisting she stay out of our lives completely and warned her that breaking even the smallest promise would result in immediate divorce. Additionally, as a consequence for her actions, he required her to help with his brother's farm for 3 months. My mother-in-law had to work under the sweltering summer heat, pushing her physical limits. It was well-deserved. Meanwhile, I gave birth to healthy twins, and my mother was discharged from the hospital, overjoyed to hold her grandchildren. My husband suggested that I stay with my parents for a while to adjust to my new role as a mother. Both my husband and my mother are supportive, helping me with the babies and household chores. With such strong family unity and mutual care, we've been able to live together in peace and harmony. Either way, everyone in my husband's family has visited us except for my mother-in-law. They're all thrilled to meet our children. I'm looking forward to continuing our happy life together with the family. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.
Ouch, ouch! My knee! Are you trying to kick me out in this condition? You're not even human. You're a demon. My mother-in-law's screams echoed against the white walls of our new home. I clasped my trembling hands tightly to my chest. It must be my fault. If only I had expressed it more kindly. I could feel the limits of my 5 months pregnant body nearing, but I couldn't voice it. I'd been seen as weak. The doctor's warning played on a loop in my head. If this stress continues, it could have serious consequences for the mother. Yet I blamed my lack of effort. For the past 3 months, since Heather moved in, her daily midnight scolding made me feel inadequate. Even lying down didn't spare me from her accusations. When I was young, I had it much harder. Guilt squeezed my chest every time. If I tried to call my own mother for advice, she would sense it and eavesdrop. I wondered if I was a disappointment. When she moved my furniture, dismissing my choices as tasteless, regret was my own companion. If only I were a better daughter-in-law, I wouldn't trouble her so much. Finally, I explained to my husband, Alex, and asked him to talk to his mother. But as soon as he suggested she return home, chaos erupted.
"Mom, isn't it time to go back to your place?"
That one line seemed to ignite her illness like a spark to a wildfire. "How dare you? You're going to throw me out? I can't believe my own son would leave me with such a monster." Her voice shattered my resolve. But I had to stay strong for my unborn child. This was her plan all along. She invaded our space with boxes in the guise of a housewarming. She aimed to take over. If I didn't make a stand now, both the baby and I would suffer. With resolve bubbling up, I took a deep breath. Then my husband, who had been listening quietly, finally spoke. And this is how my story began. My name is Sarah. I'm 26 years old and have been working at my company's reception desk for 4 years. When I was first assigned, I worried, can someone like me really handle this job? I didn't have the grace of my senior colleagues or their calm demeanor. If anything, I was known for being kind to others and hard on myself. I was known for speaking up when needed. Maybe that's why I was chosen for the role. Despite initial fears, I managed to earn the affection of my sharp-tongued seniors. This led to 4 enjoyable years at work. It was at that reception desk that I first met Alex.
Excuse me. I have an appointment with John at 1 o'clock.
His mix-up introducing himself as the time made us both laugh. Even my senior colleagues struggled to hold back giggles. Later, Alex confessed.
"I was so nervous. I've been waiting for you to help me. I got everything jumbled up."
It stood out among my daily routines. We grew close quickly after that. I often joined my senior colleagues at dinners with high-profile clients. I was mostly an observer. The upscale restaurants where staff replaced dropped forks without a blink felt too stiff for me. While others chatted, I just focused on my meal. I'd daydream about simpler comforts. I'd think about biting into a crispy fried dish drenched in Worcestershire sauce over a bowl of rice. Dates with Alex were more my style. Cold beers on makeshift tables and $2 macaroni salads with fried fish sticks. It thrilled me. After dating for a year, we got engaged. We prepared to meet each other's families. My parents were thrilled. They even spoke before Alex could finish his introduction.
Oh, we're so happy. Our daughter may be clumsy, but she's in your hands now.
I joked to Alex. They couldn't wait to marry me off. He reassured me.
It's their way of saying they trust and support you, Sarah.
His words showed me my parents' deep love and support. The following week, we visited Alex's parents, Brian and Heather.
Dad, Mom, this is Sarah.
Thank you for having me. Alex's father welcomed me warmly.
Relax and make yourself at home.
Alex's mother, on the other hand, seemed cheerful but reserved. Oh, what a lovely girl. Welcome. The conversation flowed smoothly until Alex's mother began reminiscing. Alex has always been such a good boy. Thanks to my strict upbringing, I managed everything. His studies, his sports. Everything he's achieved is because of my dedication. Her stories left me smiling politely. Alex's father sat with furrowed brows. He seemed distant, though I didn't know why. I chalked it up to being a personality quirk and moved on. The wedding came, and during the reception, Alex's mother's tears froze the room. I raised him, and now he's been taken from me. The tension made me worry about our future together. Even my coworkers muttered concerns. Will you be okay with that kind of mother-in-law? The newlywed phase began. We settled into Alex's apartment, but soon his mother's visits increased. Initially, her homemade dishes were welcomed, but when she criticized and remade my meals, I felt stifled. Sarah, these aren't to Alex's taste. You should learn our family's recipes. Until then, I'll bring them myself. Her visits became an emotional burden. What will she say today? I wondered. It wore me down, so I spoke to Alex. Alex, your mom's visits are overwhelming. I can't keep up.
That's just how she shows love. Isn't it easier for you not to cook as much?
His dismissal made me feel alone. We were saving for a new house, so I focused on that goal. Alex's father, an architect, offered to help us with the house plans.
Thanks to an old client, we got a premium deal.
The mortgage was arranged under Heather's name for financial reasons. Everything seemed set until I discovered I was pregnant. The news brought joy to everyone, but soon Heather's tone shifted. You'll quit your job, right? I'll handle the baby, so you can stay home. Initially, I brushed her off, but her persistence grew. Heather, I'm not quitting. We need my income for the mortgage. Plus, my company's maternity benefits are great. She stormed out silently. For a few days, she didn't visit, but the peace was short-lived. One night at 1 a.m., my phone rang. It was her, asking intrusive questions. How's the baby? Are you okay? I'm fine, but I need to sleep. I have work in the morning. Yet she didn't let me go. Even at work, she called, claiming emergencies. She even called my mother.
Honey, why are you pushing yourself so hard? Alex's mom is worried.
The unsolicited concern wore on me. The final straw was her insistence on my quitting. Working moms can't handle both jobs and kids. Alex agrees.
Sarah, maybe Mom's right. You should focus on the baby.
This invasive pressure eroded my well-being until I collapsed at work.
Someone call an ambulance. She's pregnant. Hurry.
The next thing I saw was a hospital ceiling. Alex's concerned face came into view.
Sarah, you're awake. Oh, thank God.
I remember the constant late-night calls. I recalled my exhaustion and untreated stress.
The baby's okay. The doctor checked.
Tears streamed down my face. If anything had happened, I couldn't have forgiven myself. Just then, Alex's father entered. Worry was etched on his face.
Sarah, are you all right? I heard what happened.
I explained everything. He listened and asked the question I'd been dreading.
Has my wife done anything to stress you out?
Yes. She calls me at night and keeps me from sleeping. I didn't want to say anything, but I need to protect my baby. Alex's father nodded.
I'm sorry. I should have stopped her. I knew her affection for Alex was obsessive. It's time to put an end to this.
With his plan in motion, he arranged for surveillance in the new house to gather evidence. The move went smoothly, and as we settled, Heather arrived uninvited. This shelf goes here. No, move that upstairs. She acted as if it were her house. I felt powerless. Soon she brought suitcases. I'll be living in the baby's room. It's only natural since I'll be the one taking care of them. My efforts to prepare a cozy space for my baby felt violated. The stress peaked. During a prenatal visit, the doctor warned, "Your stress is endangering both you and the baby." I confronted Alex. "Your mom's living here now. Don't you see how stressful this is for me?"
She's just excited about the baby. She'll leave soon.
"She hasn't changed. She's still keeping me from resting. I need you to step up. The doctor said it's dangerous. If this continues, I'm choosing the baby over everything, even you." Alex's eyes widened as he realized the gravity.
I'm sorry. I'll handle it now.
He approached his mother.
Mom, you need to leave. We're sending your things back. Until we say it's okay, no visits, no calls.
She looked stunned, then collapsed theatrically, claiming she would die if she left. "You're killing me! You're monsters!" Fear for my baby surged. "If that's how it is, we'll leave." I packed. Heather watched, shocked, turning to rage. "You can't leave. It's meaningless without all of us here." "What meaning? You can stay. We'll go. We won't die and we won't be murderers." The truth tumbled out finally. Alex stood firm.
"Hurt Sarah again and I won't forgive you. We're leaving."
As we stepped out, she shouted to the neighbors about what a terrible daughter-in-law I was. The scene was interrupted by Alex's father, just released from the hospital.
"What's happening here? Why is my family leaving with suitcases?"
"I did it all for Alex. I sacrificed everything. Now this girl turns him against me."
"Did you think this was for Alex's benefit?" Enough. We're done.
He handed her divorce papers.
"I'm filing for divorce. I won't enable you anymore."
The surveillance footage showed her mistreating me. She fell silent, realizing the truth was out. She begged to stay. When I backed away, pain hit me. "Alex, it hurts." An ambulance took me to the hospital where the doctors fought to save us.
"Please, save both Sarah and the baby."
Against the odds, we made it. I woke to Alex's teary eyes.
"The baby's okay. You're okay. Oh, thank God."
We held each other tight, grateful to have survived. Outside, Heather crumbled, realizing what she'd almost destroyed. Alex's father proceeded with a divorce. She lived alone, shunned by family and neighbors alike. News reached us that she worked multiple part-time jobs. She struggled with her pride, but slowly changed. We, on the other hand, found peace. We were supported by Alex's father. When our baby was born, healthy and strong, the room filled with tears of joy. Life resumed, filled with new hope and the warmth of family. Letters of apology from Heather began to arrive. Although I couldn't forgive her yet, it signaled a new chapter for everyone.